So I want to be able to talk about where you came from, where you are today, and your why. Why are you in politics?
People ask that a lot.
Okay, let's jump right in. Girl, what's going on?
Oh my gosh, how much time do you have?
Okay, like 25, 30 minutes.
Okay,
'Cause
great.
we can go on forever.
I know we could. We could. We've had quite a good time, and
Yeah, I know
I'm so
we have.
grateful.
Unfortunately, we haven't recorded it.
I know, yeah.
But that's okay.
But now
That's
we
okay.
are.
We're on a roll, girl.
We're here now.
Yes.
It was so nice to meet you
Thank
at
you.
the Stand With Survivors Day that was held down at the Capitol.
Yes.
And this is my first term. Our terms are 2 years.
Okay.
Last year, I was kind of focusing on learning what I was doing in the House of Representatives because there was a lot to do. And I was just kind of watching and observing. And I honestly wasn't sure when I got into politics whether I wanted to lead with my story of survival. I wasn't sure whether I had the resilience to be talking about this in public, because once you take the lid off of that story, you can't put it back in.
Correct.
So I wanted to make sure that I personally and my family were okay with talking about this very openly.
Yeah.
And I really felt coming into this second year of my first term that I really could dive in, that I can use this platform at the State House to bring attention to issues of violence that women suffer.
That's right.
And help put that voice in the room where decisions are being made.
Yes. Yes.
About how our state spends its money, what programs we support, and teach people not only what survivors go through, but what people who help survivors go through and need.
Like in the advocacy realm?
Yes, in the advocacy realm, and specifically I've been working with, last year, the budget that was passed had some money in it for sexual assault nurse examiners. They're SANE nurses is what they're called, and they work at sexual assault centers.
Okay.
They're going to be the ones who are taking a rape kit. They're going to be the ones who are doing a full medical examination of someone after they've survived an assault. The governor disregarded those funds, so I was fighting to get some of those funds put back in the budget to pay to pay for our highly trained nurses who do this very, very important work.
Yeah.
And right now I'm working to try to SANE nurses. There are only 2 places in the state that do this right now, 2 places in Georgia that do this right now, which is do non-fatal strangulation exams.
I've heard about that.
Yes, and it's very, very vital, especially with domestic violence.
Can you break that down just a little bit for survivors that don't understand what we're talking about?
Sure. Non-fatal strangulation exams are when you've been attacked by someone and they physically try to choke you.
Yes.
This does not always leave very visible damage at first. Like a bruise, things can develop. Now, the 2 centers that do this in the state have some very sophisticated technology. They've got cameras that cost about $17,000 each.
Wow.
But they can take a picture of a woman's neck when she says she's been attempted to be strangled, and show what the damage is before it develops on the outside. Internally.
What?
Internally. And it's also hard for women of color. Their bruising doesn't necessarily show up as well on a fair-skinned person.
I get it.
So these cameras take images that show the damage. They can then take them to court. These nurses who do these exams take this evidence to court, because people who strangle other people are first off, their partners are about a 750% more risk for being killed by that person. If someone is strangling you, you are 750 times more likely to die at the hands of that person. So
The next time around.
the next time.
Right.
Don't let there be a next time.
Correct.
And so if women can be encouraged to get these exams, to put themselves in safe places where people want to help them so that they can get connected with law enforcement and make those accusations, get to court. This evidence stands up in court, and we know so much more about people who strangle other people, how dangerous they are. You're more likely to kill a cop if you strangle somebody. Like you're a dangerous person. So we need to be getting these people off the streets. Showing this in court is very, very important.
Wow.
Now, the nurses who do these exams are now just doing them out of the goodness of their hearts.
Because there's no funding.
There's no funding. They're not compensated. Meanwhile, district attorneys, police departments are calling up these nurses saying, please, we just had a near strangulation case come in. We need you to look at this so that we can get evidence.
Oh my gosh.
So this is a very important thing that they're
Absolutely.
doing.
This is a high-tech, a high-end equipment.
Yeah,
So far advanced. Like I never would have fathomed something like that.
I didn't either.
There's things going on underneath the skin.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the capillaries, something that's opening up, trying to surface. And
Yeah.
then it goes right through. That's amazing.
It's really incredible. I don't even understand how it works, and I didn't know that we had this kind of technology until I started visiting sexual assault centers.
Okay.
Some of which also are domestic violence centers.
Right.
So we've got 28 sexual assault centers in the state of Georgia. I've visited 9 of them in person so far.
Incredible.
And so that's where I learned about these near fatal strangulation exams that some of these people do, but they do them because they know it's the right thing to do. But because these exams are not compensated in any way, no one feels the need to get the extra training. Nobody feels the need to go through it because they're not going to be compensated for their time or their efforts. So I really want to make sure that the state...
Why does it boil down to money?
Isn't it frustrating?
Why?
It's awful. It's awful.
It's as a human being and as a social responsibility, you are in the community.
Yeah.
You're all hands on. You're the front line. So even if you can get free training from that nurse that already had the training done, and you can work alongside of her, just carve out a little bit of time to understand, so then you can advocate and they can help you speak up.
Absolutely.
To push for more funding and get more nurses trained.
Yes.
Because that's super important.
It's very
Very
important.
important because it's hard enough for a victim to show up in court.
Exactly.
I mean, for them to even get to that point, it's hard.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If there's a custody battle,
Yes.
that's something that's needed. But a lot of these single victims, sometimes they don't even go. They're afraid of the perpetrator. They have to go out of state or somewhere definitely far away from their home. And then they don't have evidence.
Yeah.
And it's usually, and then the judge is looking like, I want to help you, but I can't.
Right.
Why is domestic violence a public issue? Because one of the myths is it's not my problem.
Exactly.
It's not happening to me. This is a private issue. Why is it public?
I'm seeing being able to teach people inside, like I see my role as being able to teach people inside those rooms where decisions are made, how important this is.
Yes.
They don't understand the intricacies or the shortcomings if they are not told. So if I can build trust with them and then say, hey, we have some very highly trained nurses in this state that are getting paid $3 an hour to sit on calls on nights and weekends in order to wait for an assault to come, to happen, if it happens. And when I tell the folks the facts, they're shocked. And then they immediately want to help. So part of it is getting information to people who make those decisions. Another part is standing up and being able to tell my story. I'm a 26-year survivor of sexual assault, but I'm here. I'm now a state representative. You would never have been able to convince me 26 years ago when I was assaulted that I could recover and thrive again. It didn't seem possible.
That's right.
So I'm hoping that by telling my story, by being very open about, hey, this happened to me, that other women can see themselves perhaps in the story and say, maybe my life isn't over. Maybe there's hope for the future. Because I know I did not see it for myself at that, at that time. It took me years to really, even with a very strong support system with a husband and family around me, it took me many years to be able to just function normally again.
So what could you say to the survivors? What can they do as a citizen?
Yes.
And as a survivor?
Okay. As a citizen and as a survivor, what you can do to help in Georgia specifically is go to the Secretary of State's website. There you can type in some very simple information and figure out exactly who your state house representatives are, your state senator. You can find their names, get their email addresses, email them about, you don't even have to go into details maybe with your story, share what you're comfortable with, but be real with them because a lot of them don't understand what a sane nurse does, what an advocate at a sexual assault center does. They don't know that that's the person who holds your hand.
Right.
They don't understand that these folks that are working at these sexual assault centers are gathering evidence to put people away.
Wow.
That this that this is a law enforcement issue as well. They don't know what these resources that need funding mean to people.
Yes.
So when I can say, these are the people who held my hand when I was in court facing my attacker, that rings the bell of truth. That's a story that somebody can hold on to.
Absolutely.
So I would say for survivors, share your story as much as you are comfortable with. Talk to each other.
Yeah.
Because there is strength in numbers. Those Stand with Survivor days are very powerful.
So the Stand with Survivor days in the state of Georgia, there's a domestic violence coalition. I'm assuming that every state has a coalition on domestic violence.
Yeah, I'm not positive what they are, but yeah.
Right. But they can Google within their
Oh,
state.
absolutely. Oh,
and
absolutely.
And connect with their email list.
Yes.
And go to these Stand with Survivor events.
Yes.
Stand at the Capitol and push to see who my representative within my county is and be part of that voice, be part of that change.
Yeah. If you're in another state, ask your state representative once you find out who they are.
Right.
Ask them who is working on this.
Yes.
It might not be it might not be their specific area of expertise.
Okay.
If somebody emails one of my colleagues and says, "I'm really passionate about getting funds for domestic violence survivors."
Yes.
Who is working on this?
Okay.
They will be able to direct you in a good path, and that way you hook into a conversation that surprisingly might already be happening.
That's right. Beautiful.